All right, everybody, welcome to the multiplication thingy. So very much like the addition, subtraction, and division thingy, we're going to break it down to start off with. So multiplication equations, we've got a multiplicand and a multiplier that gives us a product, but we also have factors and a multiplier. So depending on how much you're going to teach or what you're going to teach, you're going to arrange it on your screen as such. I'm going to go with the standard labels for multiplication equations. So our app, once again, breaking it down, is going to just a little computational model simulation that's going to display random multiplication equations for our user. So here we go. So let's head to the variables, and like I said, we're going to make a multiplicand. And that's our first one. Oh, and by the way, we don't need our main sprite, so that can go by. And then we need the multiplier. And then, of course, that is going to create the products. All right, so there we've got our variables there. And, of course, we can also put them out on the screen as such here. And then once again, I'm going to cheat, so you would break it down, and I'm going to add in factor, factor, multiple as well. That's up to you, whatever you're going to teach and how you're going to teach it. Just make sure these all match up, and when you see they all match up, go ahead and turn them into the large variables, and there you go. We've got our breakdown, we've got our equation, all of our labels, and elements that we need to get to the part where we start to organize. So now we're going to recognize some patterns in multiplication. You can talk about various different types of multiplication, the area model, and so forth. Basic fact families, all that sort of stuff. We are going to take a look at the pattern. When we multiply a group by a specific number, then we're going to get a product. All right, so here we go, and how we're going to do that is we are going to set those things. So we're going to have a trigger, and the trigger is going to start the whole sequence off. So now when we're organizing our sequence, we've got our multiplicand, multiplier, and our product. We put our multiplicand in, we duplicate this, and then we duplicate one more time, and we set our multiplier, and finally our product. So up here, we're going to hard code these in. So when we hard code them, we're organizing our information, looking at the pattern, seeing a group, how many times that group is multiplied to get a total, a product. All right, here we go. So if we're going to hard code this, we do something like 2 times 5 equals 10. And then when we press start, we see the hard code goes 2 times 5 equals 10. And that's great, and it's getting us a little step closer to what we want as our final representation for our operationalization of our outcomes, where we have a simulation that does addition equations, basic fact addition equations. So we're well on our way. The next step, what we want to do is we want Scratch to complete that calculation for us. And we're just going to get rid of these. We don't need these anymore. So we're going to go to our operators, and we're just going to abstract it out. We're going to simplify this in a way that Scratch actually does the calculation for us. And we don't have to hard code that calculation, so Scratch is going to do the calculation. So we need the operator here as we simplify. We need a multiplication operator, so that is the star. Okay. And then we set the multiplicand to 2, the multiplier to 5. So now we set the product to, we go back to our variables, and we multiply the multiplicand by the multiplier. And now even when we click this, we should have the same equation, but let's just test it. We'll hard code it with something else. So we're going to go 3 times 4, and we should see a product of 12. And it does indeed work. So our abstraction works. We've operationalized some of our objectives, but we're not quite at the representation that we want, where we've got random multiplication equations. So as we take one more step to solve this, what we need to do is go back into the operators, and we are going to get the random operator. We're going to pop it in, and we are going to go 0 to 12. We're going to include 0 in multiplication. There we go. And now what we should have every time we press the start or the go flag, we should generate a new random multiplication equation, which is exactly what we wanted in our operationalization of our outcome. So here we go. And look at that. 2 times 1, 6 times 10 is 60, and 2 times 2 is 4. Excellent. So there we go. We have our little app that generates random multiplication equations, all labeled and nicely wrapped up. So that is the multiplication thingy. Thank you for watching.